To do a long tail cast on in the traditional way, I will begin by leaving a tail that is about as long as 3 times the width of my desired cast on. I'll begin by putting a slip knot on my needle. I'll show you another way to begin without a slip knot in a few minutes. Now I've got the long tail here, and I've got the working yarn that's attached to my yarn ball here. I'm holding the needle in my dominant hand, and I'm going to drape the yarn over the finger and thumb of my non-dominant hand. So I'm going to insert my finger and thumb between these 2 strands and spread them out, and then grab the ends with my other finger. What I've got here is I've got the working yarn going over my forefinger and the long tail going over my thumb. And I'm just controlling the tails, the ends, with the other fingers there. I'm going to hang on to that stitch that I've already put on the needle so it doesn't fall off, and bring the needle forward. As I do that, I'm creating a loop on my thumb. Insert the needle tip into that loop from front to back, and then over the working yarn that's on the finger, and then back through that same loop. So forward through the loop on my thumb, and then drop the loop from my thumb. And I'll use my thumb to pull that strand coming out, and I've created another stitch. So I'm going to reset here and do that again. Go forward with my needle tip, under that first strand, over the back strand, and then back through that loop and pull it up. I don't want to pull this too tight. I just want it to be nice and even, but not too tight. Don't want to cast on too tightly. Set up again, go forward from front to back under that strand, over the back strand, and then back through the loop. I'm going to do that one more time. Forward, under, over, and then back under. After a while, you'll get a rhythm, and just keep going until you have as many stitches as you want to cast on. You are going to want to leave a long enough tail to weave in, so you want to leave at least a 4-inch tail or maybe longer to be able to weave in later. If you didn't leave a long enough tail, you're going to have to rip out and start over by using a longer tail to get all the stitches you want. Here you can see I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 stitches. One thing to be aware of when you've done a long tail cast on, the stitches are on the needle held by your dominant hand, and you will see that that is a fairly smooth edge along here. When I turn it around and look at the other side of the cast on, it's bumpy. That's the purl side of the cast on. That's the knit side of the cast on, and basically what you have done is you have knit on a row of stitches. You've cast on and kind of knit your first row. When I turn it around to work the next row, if I want to work in stockinette stitch, if I want to pay attention to the right side and the wrong side of my cast on, this will generally be regarded as the wrong side of my cast on, the purl side of the cast on. If I wanted a smooth stockinette stitch edge, I would purl this row. I showed you how to do a long tail cast on starting with a slip knot, but let me show you a refinement of how to do a long tail cast on. I don't like to start with a slip knot because it's just not very elegant. Instead, I'm going to leave a long tail, but not put a slip knot in it. I'm going to set up my fingers as I did before, so I'm going to put my thumb and my forefinger of my non-dominant hand through the yarn and hold the yarn with my other fingers like this. So now I just have that strand going, but it's not attached to my needle in any way. I'm going to take my dominant hand and press with the needle and press down and forward to create a twist. Let me do that again. Down and forward, and just kind of scoop it around. Put my forefinger on it. You can see I've just twisted the yarn onto the needle. Now I'm going to treat that like my slip stitch. Just hang on to it and do a long tail cast on. So come forward under the front loop, over the back loop, and then back through underneath and set up. So now I've cast on 2 stitches, and I just continue to cast on in that way. Now I don't have a knot, an ugly kind of bump right there. It's a nice smooth beginning to that corner cast on. If you'd like more knit instruction like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out the links in the video notes for more ways you can find me. Thanks for watching.